Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our first ever summer. I can have just you mute if you're not the one speaking. That would be great. Thanks so much. So my name is Kimberly Olson, and I'm the Executive Director of the New York City Arts and Education Roundtable. I'm calling you in today from Long Island City, Queens, or perhaps a land far, far away. We shall see pretty shortly. And on behalf of the Roundtable staff and our Board of Directors, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our first day of summer school. For those of you that might be new to the Roundtable, we are a grassroots service organization based here in New York City that works to advance and improve the state of arts ed through professional development workshops, advocacy, and online resource sharing, as well as providing platforms like this to connect our arts and education field. As we enter this unprecedented school year, the Roundtable is dedicated to keeping our community connected to one another, as well as connected to news, information, and resources to support your work in New York City schools and communities, or in communities outside of our region. We launched this summer initiative to give artists, administrators, educators, and their families a chance to engage with your artistry, add some remote learning activities to your toolkit, and also to give you a chance to connect with your community, even when we have to be apart. I want to acknowledge our sponsor. We are thrilled to offer this summer school series as a free weekly digital series now through August 27th, due in large part to the generosity of the New York Community Trust, so thank you so much. Also, now I'll transition just into some Zoom housekeeping, as I'm sure we're all getting to be experts in this new platform, just to share a few helpful reminders. Please refer to the one sheet that was forwarded to you with today's login information. As a reminder, please keep yourself on mute if you're not speaking. Additionally, this call does include closed captioning. To activate that setting, please click the little arrow next to the closed captioning button and then select Show Subtitles. In that same menu, there is a settings feature where you can adjust the size of those subtitles as well. A few features that this session will also use includes breakout rooms. We're going to briefly pop in and out of breakout rooms throughout the session. Unfortunately, closed captioning is unavailable in those sessions at that time, and we apologize for any inconvenience. We'll also be making use of the raise hand feature, which there should be a button on your toolbar that says raise hand, or you can just give a little wave, and that would also suffice. We'll also be making ample use of the chat box, as you see so far. We encourage you to use the chat box to ask questions, share resources, and to connect with other participants, and also to engage with our session today. The chat box will be shared after this meeting, which brings me on to our next point, is that this session is being recorded. We are going to be archiving all of the sessions on our website so that they can live on and act as a resource for you to use as you venture off into this world of remote learning. We'll be aggregating any resources that come up and also sharing that along with the recording, the chat box, in an email after this session. So now to set the scene a little bit, before I turn things over to our fabulous facilitators who are teaching artists Meghan Grover and Leah Reddy, we need your help to help us set the stage and test out a tool that we're going to be using later on in the session. So Kinsey, can you bring up our intro slide? Great. So we will be using the Annotate tool throughout what I can safely say will be an out-of-this-world experience. I'm going to ask you now to help us set the scene and add some stars to our night sky. To do so, please find the Annotate feature on your screen. This might look a little different depending on the device you're using. It could either appear as a pencil, or you might have to click an Annotate button, or you might see the word More and then find Annotate under that. Once you have found that feature, we ask you to select Stamp and then select the star. If your device does not have a stamp feature, then please try to draw a star using your pencil. So I'll give you, oh, perfect, wonderful. So I see people are finding it with no problem, which is great. If you are having trouble locating it or finding the Annotate feature, please send a chat to either myself or to Kinsey Keck, who's currently sharing her screen. We'll be here throughout your journey to help with any tech assistance you might need. So with that, I think if I can have you, Kinsey, you can stop sharing screen. If you can turn on over to speaker view, and then I'll turn it over to Leah and Meghan. Take it away.
Thank you, Kim. Hi, I'm Leah Reddy. I am a director slash dramaturg and a teaching artist. And early in the closure of schools, I started working with a ninth grade global history class that I was supposed to work with in real life. And I wound up collaborating with my partner teacher, whose name is James Carroll, shout out, to do a process drama that had these freshmen time traveling to give them a better sense of the visceral, hopefully, the visceral experience of being a person in the past. So that's how I came into trying to use this work in a remote setting. And I'm hoping that this can inspire a conversation about how to keep going with that.
Yay. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a teaching artist and a theater maker. I've been working with the school Convent of the Sacred Heart and Park Avenue Youth Theater during COVID, as well as with the MA Applied Theater program at CUNY, where I'm a student. And I've been implementing virtual process dramas and trying and failing and succeeding, and it's been joyous. And I'm really excited to be learning with you. I am not an expert, but this is so much fun. Thank you for being here. I also want to say Leah and I met through the Teaching Artist Affairs Committee at the Roundtable. So we were really excited to both have a passion about this work.
So we recognize this is a hard time for everyone, and theater can open up challenging feelings for people. So make sure to take care of yourself. We're also going to be doing some movement. So do what feels right to you and is in your range of movement. Yeah.
And don't worry about taking notes. We will send a handout after this workshop with a lot of details about what we do. And we will also include our emails if you have any questions.
And so we initially developed this to be for a variety of ages because I tend to work with older students and adults, and Meghan tends to work with some really small kids. But what wound up happening is that this particular drama, while the things in it can be used for, I think, a lot of different ages, ended up feeling very middle school. So feel free to engage with this like an engaged and open middle schooler would.
Yay. So in a moment, we are going to go on a journey through a hovercraft rocket in space. We are flying to a comet for reasons that we will soon learn, but can someone please raise a hand and say the name of our hovercraft? It's hard for me to see. Emily, I see you're raising your hand. Emily Baldwin, what is the name of our hovercraft?
That was rude. Celestial?
Celestial it is. All right, friends, we are going on the hovercraft name Celestial. In a moment, I'm going to go into role as Andromeda. She will be wearing this hat, and you will be going into role as members of our Celestial hovercraft.
And I will be going into role as the captain of the hovercraft.
And as you are in role, feel free to use your imagination and make decisions that you might not make in real life. And feel free to change your names too. Hi, everyone. It's so amazing that we're in the upper atmosphere. It's only 2% oxygen up here. So can everyone make sure you put on your space helmet? And make sure you put on your space suit. Make sure you zip it up or button it. I know everyone has different kinds of space suits. Sabrina, your helmet looks amazing. What color is your helmet again, Sabrina?
It's aquamarine.
Oh my gosh, I need to get an aquamarine space helmet. Oh my goodness, Carla, what color is that spacesuit that you're wearing?
Lilac.
Oh, these colors are so beautiful. Friends, we have our helmets, we have our suits. Is there anything else we need to make sure that we feel good in our celestial hovercraft? And you can just shout it out.
Some oxygen.
Oxygen. Definitely.
Really?
We need snacks.
Food.
Space ice cream.
I hear space ice cream, snacks, and oxygen. Everyone.
Boots.
And what did you say?
Seatbelt.
Seatbelt. All right. Let's all sit down and put on our seatbelt. Take some of your favorite snacks and make sure you eat some, including space ice cream, because I heard some people have that. That sounds amazing. I also see some water. Make sure you drink some water. And finally, we do need oxygen, fellow people on the celestial craft. So we are going to test our oxygen. Let's all breathe in together and out. And in one more time. And out.
Everyone, I have a special surprise. Today marks the 1-month anniversary of leaving our planet. I think it's a good time to share our story again so we can all remember our history and envision our promising future together. I love you all so much.
We love you too.
Once upon a time, just 1 month ago, we were all living on our planet. We were the last people on our planet, but things were hard. We were scared because the dragons came.
Let's all show those scary dragon faces with our faces.
Dragons came and began to attack our homes, our land, our world. We felt terrified.
Let's all show what terrified looks like with our bodies and our faces.
And after the dragons attacked our planet, we were the only people left, all alone. We had to get out.
All alone. Let's all show what all alone looks like.
Andromeda,
Huh,
please let me tell the story.
sorry.
Yes, we were all alone, but thankfully we had each other, and we had the Dragon Force Field. We were so lucky to find the Dragon Force Field.
Dragon Force Field.
We were lucky because that Dragon Force Field helped us get into our hovercraft rocket and fly away from our planet so that the dragons could never attack us again. Because we are going to a comet where no living thing has ever been, and we will start our own community there, a community of love.
We all love each other so much. So to celebrate our community, let's remember that object that we all brought from home. We each brought one object to remember our home planet. Some of you brought simple things like a pencil. Some of you brought photos or blankets. There's so many things. Go quickly grab your object because we have a special activity to celebrate. All right, we're gonna start in about 10 seconds. I hope everyone has their object. All right, you think we're ready, Captain?
I think we are, Andromeda. So everyone, think about why this object is meaningful to you. What does it say about your life? What you value? Our home planet. Why is it important to you?
And now, dance party.
Look at the chat for the directions for our dance.
And turn on your gallery view.
Good work, Andromeda. It's so important that we're keeping our morale up and building our community together. It will really help us when we land on the comet. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Captain. But there's something that I need to talk to you.
Now, it's 2200 hours and I'm heading to bed. Meet me at 0600 in the mess.
No, Captain, can I talk to you about a letter that I found?
What letter?
I found it on the floor of the control room. It must have fallen out of your pocket.
Oh, thank you for picking that up. That's nothing. Throw away that letter.
But it sounds like things aren't totally...
I said, it's nothing. Don't worry about it, Andromeda. I don't want to discuss this. Ever. Good night.
Hey, community, everyone, are you still sleeping? Everyone? Sorry, I know you're tired. Can you wake up? I have something I have to talk to you about. I'm sorry to wake you up. It's just, look, I found a letter that the captain dropped and I need you to look at it, okay? Would someone please be willing to read the letter? You can just start reading. Heather, I see your hand.
Dear Captain, our hovercraft, Galactica, is ready to fly next to yours. I know that flying together will ensure that we both arrive to the comet safely, away from these dragons. Having both of our groups flying and working together will not only ensure our safety, but will practice the community love, care, and interdependence that you so often talk about. This is important. I have found the dragon force field that will protect both of our hovercrafts. I have buried it in the cave by the Purple Mountain. I will pick it up for us on the day of our departure. While it is sad to be the final 2 countries here on Earth, my 50 fellow community members and I look forward to flying alongside you. With love.
All right, I'm gonna take it back now. Everyone, what does this mean? Someone help me, I don't understand what this means.
Did we lose somebody?
Yeah, I mean, it's written by that girl, Lux. What happened to her?
Was there another country that escaped the dragons that we didn't know about?
I think there must have been. I think there must have been another country. Sabrina just said, I think the captain is hiding something. What do we think the captain's hiding?
Maybe she knows what happened to Lux and Leah.
Yeah, it sounds like she does know what happens to Lux. And what did she do to Lux? I mean, what happened to Lux?
Maybe they crashed.
Well, what
There's a number of possibilities.
do you think they are?
Well, one is that we didn't try to help, or she didn't try to help as captain. And one is that she did and it didn't work out.
Oh, That sounds important. Maybe we could ask the captain about that. If the captain tried to help her, the captain just left.
But what if the captain lies again, though? Because she didn't tell us anything about Lux.
I know. It's so weird. The captain always says that we were the only people left on the planet.
So can we trust the captain?
What do you all think?
Well,
I don't think we can trust the captain.
I don't trust her.
I don't know about that. Yes, I don't think we should trust her because it says like our hovercraft Galactica is ready to fly next to yours. So the captain knew that this was happening.
Oh,
We need to confront her.
we
Let's go confront her now.
Yes.
What's going on in here? Everyone should be asleep. It's after lights out.
We found out something that you are not telling us.
Who's Lux?
Lux was the leader of another group of surviving humans.
What?
What?
What happened to them?
I don't know. And I say that truthfully. I don't know.
Why should we trust you?
We're having a hard time believing you.
I can't change your trust in me. I've gotten you this far. We're the last group of humans on Earth, and I've been the one to lead you. Because of me, we found the Dragon Force Field. And we got on the hovercraft, and we escaped from the dragons, and we're heading to a new comet. You've trusted me with your lives this far.
Why didn't you tell us about Lux and the other spaceship?
Honestly, I didn't want to worry you. I knew that with the Dragon Force Field that she told me about, that I could save everyone on the Celestia. I knew that we could do it. I didn't know if we waited, if we would make it out. So I made the decision.
Did you even try to connect with their ship? Anything?
No.
But Lux found the Dragon Force Field, as Cindy just said. What happened to Lux?
I don't know. I don't know Lux in real life. I don't know her people, but I know all of you. And I knew that if I took the information, that we could be okay.
So how did you get the information if you didn't know Lux then?
It came via passenger pigeon. She had heard rumors of our colony being a holdout in our port city.
So you just took the information from Lux and you didn't look back? Nothing?
Why did you make this decision by yourself?
I knew it was a hard decision, and it's still not one that I'm comfortable with. But I had hoped that no one would ever find out about it, and that I could die someday knowing that the group of us made it out, and that the group of us rebuilt our community in a better way and in a safe place.
So you let 50 people die?
It's possible.
Why did you have wanted us to find out, or you would not have left that letter around? You have a guilty conscience.
The letter fell out of my pocket. I never intended you to know.
I agree with Mia. We should go back for them. We need to find out what happened to Lux.
Well, I would like to thank you, Captain, for everything that you have done. I know that it must have been very difficult for you to make this decision, but thanks to that, we're alive. Thank you.
It's just everyone, we don't have enough fuel to go back to them. Captain, do we have enough? Are we even able to go back to them?
We are unable to go back to them.
I don't understand. Why couldn't we have safely waited for them?
I didn't believe that our resources, the resources of the comet and the size of the Dragon Force Field could accommodate 120 people. I knew it could accommodate 65. But what was I supposed to do? Once they arrived, make a decision about which of them and which of us got to go? Would they have even arrived safely? I didn't know. They were days away. The dragons were encroaching. I knew where the force field was. I knew we could survive. So I made the call. I sent some of you out to search an area of the forest where I knew the Dragon Force Field, or where I strongly believed the Dragon Force Field was hidden. Lux had to know it was a possibility that I would do that.
I think saving some lives would have been better than not saving any.
I call for a vote of no confidence on our captain.
Everyone, this is going to bring us to a pause. We're going to go get some space snack ice cream while we actually come out of roll. Take off your helmets for a moment. Take off your space suits. I'm going to rename myself. All right, everyone. That was a lot. Let's just take a breath together. And out. Wow. Thank you for all these ideas. We will go back to our celestial spaceship, I promise. But we are actually going to go into breakout rooms right now and explore the circumstances and feelings of the captain.
And as we do this, we're going to move into analyzing the captain from the outside as though you are analyzing a script. So you're working on a script in a theater class, or you're working on a script in an English class, or a character in an English class, taking a step back and thinking about what might be influencing the character and her choices.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your ideas and your experiences. I'm excited to jump back in to roll. Let's all take a breath together. Put on your helmet and your space suit and whatever snack you needed. Make sure your oxygen is good. You got your space ice cream and your water, and you're all buckled up. Think about, I see us all drinking water. I'm gonna drink some space water too, my friends. Think about how you would feel in this moment from where we just left, knowing that the captain left Lux and other humans on that planet with dragons, probably left them to die. I'm going to count down from 3. Show with your body how you are feeling right now in 3, 2, 1. And hold that. Time has gone by. You're all feeling a mix of feelings. Some of us are angry and furious and sad, confused. Some of us have questions like, what does love even mean in a community? Should we lock the captain up in a basement of the ship and never let her back? Should we bring the captain back and just let things be as they are? She is a good leader. She means well. She wants to keep us safe. And take a breath in and out. Friends, it has been a week. Today is the day when we are going to really try to figure out what we're going to do with the captain. I'm going to send you into your small groups of 3, and you are going to each share, but you can pass if you don't want to share, 1 word that you feel toward the captain and 1 thing that you want to do with the captain. And we're also going to paste that in the chat so you can remember, but don't worry about making a final decision because we're going to come together as a community after. Thank you. We are going to have a conversation right now where we want you to go away, please. Bye, Captain. Is that okay, Captain?
I understand, Andromeda. You know where to find me. I'll be in the control room.
Okay, thanks, Captain. All right, everyone. Thank you for having those conversations with each other. I think we're ready to start thinking about a decision that we're going to make. So we're actually going to share a whiteboard. And we're going to draw a kind of barometer on this, a spectrum line. And on either side of this line are going to be 2 extremes. Knowing that we might not have these ideas, I don't want to put anything on us. We're just using them as examples of extremes. So one extreme is going to be, we do nothing with the captain. We keep letting her lead. We keep things as they are. The other side is to actually lock the captain up in the basement and never let her come back into the community again. So I'm going to invite us to annotate using a star, using a gold star if you can, if not, draw a star. To do this stamping, if you look up in your computer, you could view options. If you don't have a computer, there should be view options. We also have a tech commander here that can help with that too. And then you go down and you click annotate. So show where you are on this spectrum by putting a star. Either you want to do nothing, let the captain lead, or you're a little closer to lock the captain up, but let this be a huge amount. They can be all over the place. So many different ideas. Awesome. Wow, thank you all. Does someone closer to this lock captain up and don't let her back into the community, would they be willing to share what they want to do with the captain?
We were saying that we wanted to stop the ship and kind of hold the captain at bay and assess among our crew members, you know, whether we could survive and try to get answers out of the captain.
So we were saying that we're going to assess how much food we have, how much fuel we have, what do we have available at our disposal in terms of rations or whatever. And if we have enough fuel to decide if we'll go back and, you know, or, you know.
Or what? What's the other option?
Huh?
Do you say we go back, or what's the other option?
Or according to how much fuel we have, we move forward with the captain and the captain lead.
Oh, we let the captain lead.
Because she might have had that information, and we didn't have that information.
I see what you're saying. So we keep the leader there because the captain knows the information. Yeah. What about someone on the other side? Does anyone have anything they want to share where we lock the captain up, don't let her back in the community?
We were wondering if we had anybody else in the crew that could take over the captain's place. Because if we don't, then we have to let her do her job and then deal with it when we get there.
We talked about demoting her.
Oh, what does that mean?
She can be part of the crew, but she can't be the captain anymore.
So if we were going to get a new captain, what kind of skills would that captain need?
I was technical and leadership.
What in leadership?
The technical skills to run the spaceship.
Yeah, I do think there's some people here that could do that for sure. What other? I see keep her locked up because she's a dragon. Can anyone say a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think I went a little bit left field, but I think it's possible that she is part dragon, and that's why she knows the things she knows. That's why she's being secretive. That's why she has the power that she has. So it was just an idea that I think for the good of saving everyone, she's got to go. But that was just one of those, is it possible that whether that means a part of her spirit is dragon, or I don't know.
And when you say she's got to go, what would we do with her?
I don't know. Well, we seem to have one option of lock her up, lock the captain up and don't let her out in the community, since we are navigating the universe. So there's no place really to put her right now. So I think that's an option. That's the best option.
Yeah, does everyone agree? Like what would happen if we locked the captain up? Do we feel like that's a thing we want to do in our community?
I don't.
I don't think so.
Why?
I don't know enough about her to make that assumption, so no, I would want to.
I don't think so.
Because what we all can, evenly admit is that despite the decision that she made, where Lux is concerned, she did bring us to this point. And we can admit that we're probably alive because of the decisions that she made. We may not agree with what she did and how she did it, but at the same time, we're here because of what she would have done. Now, for me, if it's a matter of, us getting to where we need the captain there. What we may have to do now, however, is take a more active role in the decisions that she makes going forward, because before we were allowing her to just lead us blindly. We didn't ask too many questions. It's only when the letter was found, we know, well, okay, this is happening, that's happening, this is happening. But if it is to become more involved in what's really going on and really start paying attention, then we will be more a part of that whole decision-making process, right? But locking her up is not going to serve us, because I mean, who do we have that's going to lead and make the tough decisions? That the captain, I mean, and in our group, we had mentioned that too as well. She had to make a very tough decision when it is she did what it is she did. How is she responding to that? How did she live with that too as well? So I don't agree with locking her up and not letting her back into the community. I think we need her to get to where it is that we need to go to. And I think somebody mentioned about democracy. It's something that we need to really, look at moving forward.
Can we actually take away the white screen, Tech Commander, please, so we can see each other? What does democracy mean?
Who would mention it there?
That's a loaded question.
If that person wants to take it.
If I can just talk, our group, Lisa and everybody, we talked about the emotionality of actually being the captain, which is kind of flipping it on itself, and like what that responsibility is, and how are you responsible for that many people, and what lines would you go through, what lengths would you go through to protect that many people, knowing what you know if the rest don't know it. So, and where's your responsibility in that, and where's your emotionality in that, and just going to a theater-based place, we said, what's the emotion behind that? Are you trying to protect? Even if you're, playing the villain is not always an easy thing, but if you're playing the conceived villain, it's not an easy thing, but you have to justify it. So how do you justify this behavior, and what happens? And, so I think we were more about like why we would make those decisions rather than what different decisions we could do. It was like, wouldn't you do anything to save anybody you love? And then how do you justify that? So I just think that's an interesting way to look at the captain.
Yeah, and putting a bow on it, we all four landed on communication is key. Like, we want to know, now
exactly.
that we want to know. We have empathy and compassion. All of us have been leaders at one time or another. So we know the responsibility, but we want communication.
Yeah. Wow. I'm hearing that we can understand where the captain came from. I'm seeing things in the chat, like things about accountability and making decisions as a group. How do we hold accountability for the decisions that are made? The captain did this thing where he killed 50 people. How do we hold him accountable? What does that mean moving forward?
We don't know why. We don't know exactly why yet.
No, and that's for us to flesh out that story. Also, how many did he save?
Do we know for sure that they're dead? We don't
know.
Well, he kind of did explain. He said that, I think it was a she. The captain's a she or he? It's a she, right?
Captain's a she, sorry, she.
Yeah, so she explained that, she didn't want to have to go through the process of this sort of arbitrating who gets to be saved and who doesn't. And it kind of seemed like that was the easier route, but not the ethical one.
Yeah.
Even if it meant that, some people definitely have to die, still, it was never evaluated how many people exactly could be saved. And there was no one who was consulted at all, not even other leadership.
Yeah. And that's what I'm seeing in this chat, is that we want to be able to consult each other and make some decisions as a community. We're running out of time. It is almost bedtime, so we'll continue this more. But does anyone want to say anything about leading as a community? Like, I saw someone said it's a lot to put on one leader, one person to lead. Like, how would we go about leading as a community? I don't know.
It seems like in the best case scenario, when we are able to
foresee what kinds of risks we're going to run into, then we do an assessment of the group of, do we want to prioritize saving ourselves versus risking saving other people, and figure out where we're at, do like a temperature check. But there does need to ultimately be one person who has that information in their head when the time comes. Because when the moment to make the decision happens, we can't just go back to the group and spend an hour chit chat, and then we all die. So
right. So
doing a temperature check first and then getting one person to be the delegate to do that.
I think somebody mentioned like someone to check the fuel, someone to check the foods, all those things in place before a decision was made, which sounds like the leader did not lead that way with the information that she had at the time.
I have one last question before we go to bed. What if this leader does something that we really don't like? Like right now, we're in the situation, like, yes, she should have consulted us, but what if she still does something that we don't like? Then what do we do?
If we're establishing a new democracy, we vote her out.
Also, it seems kind of crazy that like she would get this information from another group and then forget about the group entirely, when that group also deserves some credit for saving us.
Yeah, the group is the reason why we're alive. We have that force field.
We just took it from them.
Yeah. And we can't even go back. This is a lot. I need to go sleep in my space bedroom. I just heard a beep go.
It's a lot.
Community, I think we're going to go to sleep, but we can continue this every day because we have to keep working toward this idea. And it sounds like we don't have one idea right now. Thank you all so much. Let's take a breath together. And out. We're going to take off our helmets. I'm very sweaty. And our suits. And put our space ice cream away and our water away. Thank you all so much. As you're holding up that suit, think about something that's resonating with you from our experience together. And remember that. And now we're going to bring on Leah, who's going to do a final activity. Thank you all.
I'm still muted. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen nearby, we're going to go into the physical space and write down a word or phrase that's sticking with you from today on that sheet of paper. If you don't have paper, just pop it in the chat. And in about 20 seconds, we're just going to hold it up and read everyone's words in gallery view. It's a little bit of a game of angles, I'm finding.
Okay, I'll put it.
When you show a word, do you need to do something to your screen?
No, you can just hold it up as long as you're on camera.
Okay.
And if you don't want to be on camera, feel free to pop it in the chat.
Because yours looks normal and then mine looks backwards.
Oh.
No, we
Oh,
can...
you have mirroring turned on your computer. That's...
Oh, where does that live?
It's in your
Zoom settings.
Okay. Thanks.
But before we go very far into the weeds, thank you all. We really appreciate your presence and playing along with us.
That was great. Thank you so much.
We're going to end. Leah, do you want to lead the...
Yeah, I think we wanted to leave some space for a few questions from you, but we also have questions for you. How might you use this in a classroom, and what does this bring up for you in terms of conversations that you could use it in?
Wow.
This was great. Thank you for sharing with us and having us be a part of it. Really, really cool. I'm just wondering, like, if you were to continue this storyline, what you have ideas of activities that we can continue this building this process of?
Yeah, I think one of the things that Megan and I talked about a lot, and you can jump in, Megan, is the difference between process drama and play building, and where you shift from doing a process drama into a play building activity. So for me, it would definitely lead into something like monologue writing, probably with older students, or scene writing.
Yeah, I think it could also, that would be so exciting. There's so many things. Yeah, it can be like a start to a conversation about accountability and democracy. I also think in working with, if I were working with young ones, it'd be a lot of work, but I would then like recreate a drama based on what we said. So like we come together, we try to make decisions together, and then bring in some problems that would arise as we're making decisions and explore that.
I think this activity made me also think of interdisciplinary connections with things like social studies, when we're talking about reconciling our present and our future when we have such a violent past. It has a lot to do with, the history of colonization and a lot of different things that we do in the 11th grade. So it would be interesting to have, to be able to have like a completely different, disconnected, that is not totally related to a certain historical fact, a disconnected way to also talk about those principles and have a conversation. It's great.
We also played with some ideas of how to actually go into math and science in this. Like, we toyed for a while about giving you all the numbers and the maps of the resources and seeing if people could like figure out if it worked.
We were also going to do more science. Yeah, if we had all the time, it would have been a whole adventure.
We would have learned a lot more about lightning sprites.
Yeah, even taking this, I mainly teach dance. So, but I have definitely been given the key to talk to my students about what's really going on. And you all did that, because when we broke out into our four, I just said it. I was like, okay, this is everything that's happening is so close to what's actually happening. About accountability and honesty and all of that we're inundated with every day. And kids are feeling that too. So I think that it's important how you all, like, I think Helio, is that how I say your name? You brought that up, where it was what's going on in the world, but it was in a really fun space of like outer space.
Safe space.
So Joanna, you had a hand raised.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. One thing I struggle with when I do this kind of work is it gets really real and really intense, and we go, and then all of a sudden, I mean, I don't believe in the word closure, but we somehow don't, not necessarily wrap it up, but we go, and then we stop. So what are some things you've done with this kind of work where you actually, and maybe you pick it up later, but somehow the kids aren't on this level of caring about something deeply, but then we just kind of stop. I don't know, I struggle with that.
Yeah, that was actually a thing that we were talking a lot about, because my professor, who might be here off camera, Chris Vine, talks a lot about in process dramas, people will always compromise. They'll always meet in the middle. So sometimes we'll do something like a process drama will end in like, will you strike or not? And there's like a barrier in the room and you decide if you're gonna strike or not. And then there's closure and you have to make this decision. And we were debating something like that, but this felt like there was so much in the middle to explore. But like you could decide to vote on what you would do moving forward, and then like explore what that would look like and maybe write about it or play build or something. But yeah, this one is hard because it just felt, the middle parts actually felt so nuanced that.
I like the small group work, like, I just thinking about that, like building on bills. Like I remember I was working with a group of kids and they were talking about how do we pass a bill and where do bills come from and how do we propose things. So I could see you creating some kind of template or fill in the blank structure just so that they have a place to voice those changes or what they would like those changes to be. Because I really agree about, not wanting to leave things open-ended so much, but that there's a next step, a next place to go for hope, especially right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my dogs are barking, so I had to go off video. But if I could just say something, what I thought was really interesting about our group, and I think Lisa Leonard can attest to, is where we were coming from was the character and not us, not what would we do. But we had to really come from the character's point of view, which is a teaching tool. You know, like you may not want to play the villain, you may not want to play the princess. You get to play something different every time. And then you have to be able to justify it. And I think that was such an important part of our story. Whether we personally agreed, what our personal opinions are, it's not necessarily what we would do, you know, like that's not what we would do, but our character is doing something. So you need to be able to justify it. And whether that comes from, and that's a teaching moment in your monologue, in your 2-second scene, in your advertisement, whatever you're teaching the students to do, it's to make them justify why they're saying what they're saying. You know, and how and who are they saying it to? What? So I just think that was a big part of it, because I think a lot of us could personally agree or not agree to the captain, but we all had to be the captain at some point. So how do you be the captain? And if it's not your thing? So I think that was a big part of the lesson. Thanks.
I also think that reading, especially since we're on Zoom now and we're using video, learning to read each other's expressions on camera, especially we have the benefit of having actors who know how to portray expressions, maybe take the opportunity to teach kids how to read each other's facial expressions through a screen, and connect that with empathy. So we continue with socio-emotional learning, really like tie that in and say, well, remember when they were frowning, remember when they were doing this, so they can feel more connected with people.
Well, thanks. I think it's about time. Leah, do you have anything you want to add or ask?
No, thank you so much for being here and for being willing to go on that journey. It's really lovely.
Thanks. I wonder, Megan and Leah, before we wrap up, there were just some questions about the technology aspect. I wonder if you could address, so in full transparency, there are 4 of us working on this today, Leah and Megan, who are facilitating, and Kinsey and I behind the scenes to support. But could you talk a little bit about how you might adapt this when you're solo teaching or team teaching, and how it might change when your audience is not adults and it's with students?
So I think I've done this with myself and a partner teacher without any difficulty. My experience with teaching students is the biggest technical hurdle is the technology on their end. Controlling the Zoom and the screen shares and the annotation is actually pretty easy individually. I don't know about your experience, Megan.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we could have done this with one. We could have done this with one person.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I mean, you can. It can take a little longer. It's just much easier, obviously, when someone's supporting with sound and sharing. But
yeah, what I've done that makes it very straightforward is put everything into a Google Slides presentation and then share that continuously. That's the easiest. And the whiteboard is a built-in feature in Zoom. So if you have the possibility to screen share, actually, where is it? I know it's in here.
Share screen, and then whiteboard is the second option.
Share screen. Okay.
Yeah, you only
I want to share my screen.
I just want to say you only have that option if you're the host.
Yes.
Yeah.
How were you able to add the music though? I was doing, I have a group and we normally do like readings and stuff. And we tried to add audio to one of our readings, but it wasn't coming across clearly on Zoom. What did you all use? Just normal, a sound system, your phone, what?
I can share that.
There is a setting in Zoom. Yeah, go for it, Kim.
Okay.
All the sound was shared from my computer. And the way I did that was in share screen. At the top of that, there are 3 sections, either basic, advanced, or files. I then click on advanced, and I then select music or computer sound only. Or if I'm sharing a document, I'll click share computer sound as well. That way you hear it.
Hey, I would just like to reiterate that only happens if you're a host or a co-host.
You're the host. Okay. Thank you. Now I know. Thank you.
I'm wondering, thank you, this was so wonderful. Is there a whiteboard or annotate version in Google Classroom, or is it a plugin that's separate?
I've never found anything comparable in Google. I'm not gonna lie, it's not nearly as good. Maybe they've spent the summer fixing it.
At Google Classroom, there's only one a teacher can use, but it can't be a bunch of people at the same time, that's only Zoom.
Okay.
Correct. I've done a lot of online learning in this last, 5 months. The Google Classroom is led by the teacher, so you need to be very close to the teacher. You need to send them all the information. They can do all of that, but that's if your teacher is present and willing. And I say those 2 things. Sometimes they're present, sometimes they're not willing. Sometimes they're present and they go have their breakfast and you teach the class. So, it's always a good idea just to tell your teacher, like, I am planning to do this. I would like an open thing, so that they know. So it's very fair, because it's, good Lord, the teachers deserve a breakfast and a coffee break, and I'm all for it. But the Google Classroom is a very similar, but you have to be communicative with whoever is hosting that.
I've found Google Classroom to be quite limited, actually, as far as really engaging the students in these types of ways. Yeah.
Cool. So I think Megan and Leah, if it's okay, I recognize we're a bit past time. If you do have questions, please pop them in the chat. Megan and Leah will be, like they said, aggregating resources from this, and we'll be happy to share, to answer some questions in a document afterwards that then could live on with all the other resources. And with that, just a huge thank you and round of applause, not only to Leah and Megan, but for all of you as well for playing with us on this hot Thursday afternoon. As people pop their questions in the chats, just a few announcements from the New York City Arts and Education Roundtable side. Next week, we're going to be continuing our summer school series with a Google Classroom 101. So possibly now something I will then bring to our facilitators to say, hey, how do you possibly annotate in Google Classroom? That will be happening on July 30th at 4 o'clock, so Thursday at 4, that's Eastern time. In addition, next week, we are going to be continuing our In Solidarity and Affinity Group series. The Roundtable has been hosting affinity groups, racial affinity groups. There is a white affinity group, a Black affinity group, and a non-Black POC affinity group. You are welcome to join us next week. The white affinity group and Black affinity groups will be meeting. Kinsey will pop a link in the chat about when that's happening. And we're also having a time and space for all of these groups to come together next Friday, July 31st, which is at 10:30 a.m. So again, thank you so much. And just my last announcement, the Roundtable is hiring. We are seeking a communications and resources manager. If you or anybody in your network might be interested, please check out the job posting, which is now in the chat as well. The application is open through July 27th, which is Monday. So thank you all so much. We'll give another 30 seconds for people to pop questions in the chat, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a nice day, everybody.